Hi, I'm Heidi with Onigo Stamping. Welcome to my craft corner. Today I have a really fun card to share with you that is a fun fold card, but it's very elegant because it uses the Fine Art Floral Designer Series paper with the special matching acetate that goes with it. This is absolutely gorgeous. It's from the January to June mini catalog, so it's on its way out, and it's only available while supplies last or until June 30th. So it's absolutely gorgeous. If you don't have some already, you definitely want to grab some before it's gone. Before I get started though, if you have any questions about Stampin' Up or about card making or rubber stamping in general, I would be happy to help you with those questions. Go ahead and leave me a comment or send me an email. Let me know what you need. Let me know how I can help you. If you'd like to hang out with me more, I would love for you to come over and join me over on Facebook in my Facebook group. You're going to find the link to my Facebook group in the description to this video as well, along with a link to my website where you're going to find the dimensions, supply lists, and more photos of today's cards. Make sure to stick around all the way to the end because I have more samples after I show you how to make the card. All right, if you liked today's video, make sure to like, subscribe, and share it with your friends. Oni go! Let's get stamping. Today's card is really all about the pattern paper, but I am going to use a few stamps for the sentiment on the card. So I'm primarily going to be using the Peaceful Moments stamp set, and this stamp set matches the Painted Poppies stamp set. It's kind of like the Painted Poppies has all the images and this has all the words. So this is a really great greeting set and we're going to use that. I'm also going to grab a greeting from the Sweet as a Peach because the card that I'm going to make needs 3 separate greetings and that is kind of hard to find. So I'm going to combine 2 sets. Another big thing I'm using in this card is the Stitched Rectangles dies. And if you haven't seen these, this is just a great basic die set with all of these stitched rectangles, and they stitch on the inside and the outside, which is really fun, and we're gonna make a frame with that. So I'm gonna be using a lot of that. For this card, I am using the Fine Art Floral Designer Series paper. And normally I have all the Designer Series paper to share with you and show you what it all looks like, but I only had a small amount of this to begin with, and I have cut into so much of it already that I just don't have the whole pack to show you. But it is absolutely gorgeous, and all of my samples today do use the Fine Art Floral Designer Series paper. So you're going to see it throughout the video. Or I should say, you're going to see what I'm doing first here, and then at the end of the video, you're going to see samples with more of it. But it does come with, well, it doesn't come with, but you can also get the matching acetate specialty paper, and this, so it has 3 different designs, and 2 of the designs line up with 2 of the Designer Series papers, and then it has a 3rd design that is just like a pattern. So this one, you can see it lines up with this Designer Series paper, and that's how we're going to use it. So, but isn't that a gorgeous card? I'll just show you this one too. Whew, look at all those painted images, and it's really fun because the Designer Series paper, it was actually painted by one of the artists at Stampin' Up. They painted it all and then they turned it into Designer Series paper. All right, so I have 2 cards here, and usually with my videos I have entirely made the project ahead of time. I know exactly what it's going to look like, but for today's card, like I said, I had already cut into a lot of the paper and I had very little to begin with. So while I've done a couple cards that are very similar to this, they're a little bit different, and this one is going to be different than the other 2 I'm going to show you, and I haven't done it already. But I am going to start with 2 pieces of cardstock. I have the So Saffron cardstock, and this is 4 1/4 by 11 inches, and I of course scored it at 5 1/2. And then I have a piece of Flirty Flamingo, and this is 4 inches by 10 1/2 inches, and I have scored that at 5 1/4. All right, so the first thing we're gonna need to do is I'm gonna grab my cutting plate for my Big Shot, and I'm gonna put down this So Saffron paper, because we're gonna start by doing some cutting. So I'm going to start by cutting a frame in one side of this, and we're going to cut a giant hole. Nothing like starting your card by cutting a giant hole in the center of it. All right, so I'm going to run this through my Big Shot, and I'll be right back. Okay, I cut the first hole in my cardstock, and you can see this creates a frame. Let me show you which one I used. I forgot to kind of show you that. So you can see in the set. I'm using the second largest one. All right, and for the next step, I'm going to use the biggest frame and then 2 below that. So here's the one I cut from the yellow, and then these are one larger and one smaller. So that's kind of, you know, you could change the size, but that's kind of the basic trick, is to choose one in the middle and then one bigger and one smaller. So I'll set those aside. We can pull out the front of our card. There we go. And now I have that. I can use it for something else. We'll set it aside. I am going to grab a piece of Flirty Flamingo cardstock. Now this, we're just going to be cutting, the center out of it. Normally, you know what, I'm going to cut this in half, just because sometimes with the rectangle dies, it can get a little bit hard to cut. And the best way to get them to cut is to cut on an angle. And if you have a full half sheet of cardstock, you can't fit it in there on an angle. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to cut that down. So now you can see I can put that as at an angle. And then I will put my dies right on here. And I'm going to try to line these up, get them straight, get them even, which is the hard part, I feel like. There we go. And we're actually going to cut 2 of these. And I'm going to show you how I do that in just a second. You know what, actually, I'm changing my mind. I'm changing my mind already. I'm trying to think. No, I'm going to do this. All right, sorry. That was just a little sidetrack. All right, so I'm just lining these up. And I'm going to put a little bit of washi tape on there just to try to hold them in place, because I am trying really hard to get those square and even, although I'm pretty sure I missed. So I'll take off the washi tape and we'll take off the dies, and you can see I have cut a nice frame here, and we'll set that aside. Again, I have another piece for another day. I'm going to do this again. So I'm going to start by putting my big one on here. I'm not going to worry too much if these are exact, because of the way you line them up on the inside of the card. I want them to be as square as possible, but they don't have it to be exactly the same. Because of the way the card is going to put together, you're not going to notice that they're not exactly the same. So I'll just run this through. And here is my second Flirty Flamingo frame. That's kind of hard to say. Flirty Flamingo frame. Try to say it again and I can't even say it. All right, pull those dies off. Again, this was the largest die in the second and the third one down. And I used this one, the second largest one, on the front. So I'll just set those aside. Pull out my extra bits. There's my frame. And again, you have an extra piece for another card. And then I'm going to start putting this card together. So the first thing I want to do, I'm going to go ahead and fold this. You got to do this very carefully because the front of your card is no longer very stable because you've cut a giant frame in it. But don't worry about this because we're going to add some stuff back into it. And when we get done, it will be back to being nice and stable. So I'm just go ahead and fold that. Then I have that piece of Flirty Flamingo that was 4 inches by 10.5. And of course, all of these measurements are going to be over on my website. And the link to my website is in the description to this video. So I just folded that in half. Now, I'm going to take my multi-purpose glue. I'm going to pick one that has more glue in it. And what we're going to do, we're going to open up the So Saffron one. Okay. Schmutz. There's cat fur on my card, which I do not want. I'm going to open up the So Saffron one. The Flirty Flamingo is going to go the opposite direction. So it's going to go in here like this and be the opposite direction. So go ahead and put some adhesive on here. And we'll just glue this down and just try to center it as best you can. All right, so there's that bit. And then I have my designer series paper, and I have that sheet of acetate. I'm going to pull the acetate off. I'm going to set this right above me because the acetate is very hard to line up with the paper. So what I did ahead of time when I first got the paper is I figured out where it was lined up, and then I kept those sheets together, and every time I cut it, they just stay together because if they get separated, oh, good luck trying to get them lined up again. So I'm just going to set this above my card, going the direction that I know I'm going to want it on my card. And that is just to save me some headache later. So we'll just put some adhesive on here. You know, I didn't check. I think I cut this down to the right size. I hope so, now that I've got the adhesive on here. I did not. All right, so now we're gonna take this. We are going to be very careful. I'm gonna, what am I gonna do? I'm gonna sponge off some of this adhesive because this is the multi-purpose glue, and unfortunately it when it dries it stays tacky. I'm just going to wipe this off with my little sponge that I normally use, and then we're going to trim it up and we'll try again. See, sometimes I make mistakes. This is why I always, you know, normally I always lay things down and try them. Ooh, is that tacky? That is super, super sticky. I'm going to have fun cleaning my stuff after this. You know what? This isn't even going to fit. I'm going to use my paper cutter because I'm not going to be able to do the other direction, which means that I would end up having to clean two different things. So we're just going to grab my paper cutter, and I want this piece to be, let's get more gluey things out of here. I want this piece to actually be 3 3/4. And again, we're going to put the piece of acetate right back on the front there. We want this to be 3 3/4 by 5. I did not cut all the way through. I think I was being too gentle. Normally I do it with the acetate on top, but with this glue I don't really want to glue the whole thing down. Trim that off. Ooh, I did that wrong. Look at that. Now I have messed up. All right, let's see. Let me see what I got to do. Okay, I got to think about this one for a minute. Well, I'm just going to trim off. So I'm going to take my piece of acetate. I'm going to leave it. We'll see what happens. We're just going to line this up, and I'm going to trim off one side here. So I want this side to be 5 inches. We're going to try to fix this later as we put the card together. Hopefully it works. That was really silly of me. See, one little mistake ends up leading to another. We'll have to see how this goes. And I can't just start over because I don't have any more of this paper. This is the end of it. All right, let's set this aside. You can go ahead and put some more adhesive back on this, even though this is so tacky right now. And now I'm going to come in and put this on the piece of Flirty Flamingo. So there we go. Yay! Now let's see what this is going to do. We want this to line up. And the frame is going to come up and cover. All right, so I do need to come in. I'm going to cut off just another, maybe 1/8 of an inch off this end here. Just so it doesn't show. Maybe even just 3/16. We'll just pull that off. There we go. So now I should be able to come in here and we'll get this all set on here. And remember, this is a little bit smaller than what I need. This pink is going to come in here like this. Okay, so now when I go to glue this, I'm going to have to be careful though, because I'm going to want my acetate to be glued more towards the bottom. So I just have to remember that. What I'm going to do, now on the back of this acetate, there is a piece of film, and I want to go ahead and I'm just going to pull that off. This will make the acetate even clearer. Now to adhere this, I'm using some Stampin' Seal Plus. I'm going to grab my silicone craft sheet, and I'm going to put this definitely on the bottom because I have plenty of space to hold that in. And then let's do a little bit in here too. Oops. Just put, oh, this is all going to get adhered, so it's fine. Just trying to push the sides in. Like that. Push these sides in. Now the Stampin' Seal Plus is like these long, I don't know what I would call them. They're long like rectangles. And so I just fold them over. All right. There we go. And now I'm going to put my acetate on here. I'm going to line this up more towards the bottom to make up for my earlier mistake. And then I'm going to line it up evenly side to side. And that should be good. Now we'll come in with a little bit more Stampin' Seal Plus. I have to use the Stampin' Seal Plus on this because what do I want to say? I'm thinking to myself, like, do you know how that goes? All right, I'm going to do something else first. Well, no. See, this card's a little bit tricky. You got to like think about it. Think about what you're doing and where the adhesive is going. Anyway, what I was saying is I need to use the Stampin' Seal Plus because something like the multi-purpose glue is not going to hold this acetate. Because the acetate is plastic, it's not going to stick. So the Stampin' Seal Plus is really the way to go. But with this frame, the frame is so small that it just doesn't quite fit. A little bit where I don't want it, so we'll just push that up with my fingernail. All right, now I'm going to come in and we're going to try to line this up and get it lined up with the flowers underneath. Go, and I don't want to push too hard because there might be sticky bits. You see there's sticky bits here on the inside. We're going to cover those up, but I don't want to accidentally get the sticky bits on my card front. So now I'm going to put some multi-purpose glue over here. And this now is going to go on the inside, and I just want to line up the openings so that they don't show. This is just to kind of cover some stuff up. And the inside rectangle should be the same size, so they shouldn't, yeah, there we go. And I think I got the front on slightly crooked. Normally when I do this, you really lean over what you're doing, which makes it a little bit easier to get straight. But there we go. So that is the basic card. And you can see how that acetate lines up with the picture underneath. Isn't that fun? All right, on the inside, well, first, let's go ahead. We'll put the inside together. So I'm going to go ahead, open this up. I have another piece of the Designer Series paper. And we're just going to glue this over on the right. Now this paper is in the January to June mini catalog, which means that it is being retired in just a couple weeks at the end of June. Actually, it's only available while supplies last. So last time I checked, it has not yet sold out, but that could happen like any time. All right, We're going to do the greeting though before I glue that in, because I could see myself making another mistake. So we'll just set this aside and let's start stamping the greetings. Now I have 2 rectangles that I've cut from basic white, and again I use the stitched rectangles for those. And I'm going to grab from my Peaceful Moments stamp set, I'm going to grab the Congratulations, which is right here. And then I'm going to grab the stamp that says, and this doesn't look very clean, I'm going to clean it before I use it, wishing you every happiness this special day will bring. And let me grab my clear blocks. Normally I get these all out ahead of time and I didn't do it today. So let me just grab that. Oh, see how dirty that was? I definitely forgot to clean it before I put it away. That happens sometimes. It happens. All right, and then I want the Congratulations. This is going to be kind of like maybe a wedding card. From the Sweet as a Peach stamp set, I'm going to go with It's Your Day. I'm going to grab that stamp set, that stamp, if I can find it. So we'll just put this on a little block because it's just a little sentiment. It's your day. And let me clean off this stamp before I forget. We're going to make all sorts of boo-boos here. Right. Clean that off on my chamois so it's ready to go. Now I think I'm going to stamp these with Flirty Flamingo to match the pink cardstock that I have. I'm going to start by stamping 1 rectangle with Congratulations. And then I'm going to stamp the other rectangle with It's Your Day. And then the inside of the card, we're going to stamp the Wishing you every happiness this special day will bring. So there's our 3 sentiments, and that's really all the stamping we need to do here. Not sure where to put my ink pad. All right, we'll go ahead and set it aside over there. Get all my messy stamps out of my way before I end up getting ink on something. All right, let's open this up. I'm going to glue the inside. So this just goes on that inside layer. Now I got glue on my piece of paper here. I'm going to put a piece of scrap paper over that because I will make a mess. I think this video is just all about messes and mistakes. Messes and mistakes. I'm just going to grab a piece of scrap paper because this will stay sticky even if I pick it up, it will stay sticky. So I'm just going to throw a piece of scrap paper over that so I don't end up with sticky on my card. All right, I'm going to grab the Congratulations. And I want to use a piece of Flirty Flamingo. I have a piece right here. Now, I did not measure this, all right? I don't always measure. So there's no real measurements for this. I'm going to glue down the Congratulations. And I'm not measuring just because it's so thin. I'm going to grab my paper trimmer and I'm just going to trim this. So all I do is I just kind of, line this up. I know I can kind of see. I'm going to line it up with the inside edge here. And that looks pretty good. I'll do this side too. So I'm just lining up the piece of the white with the inside edge where I can just see it. And we'll just trim that off. There's our Congratulations. I'm going to do the same thing with the It's Your Day. So let's bring that back over here. I'm going to grab my silicone craft sheet before I make more gluing boo-boos. I have so many pieces of scrap paper on here. So we'll put this on the piece of Flirty Flamingo again. And then we'll trim this up just the same way. There we go. And And then again, I can see where the edge of the white lines up with this outside edge. And I'm just trimming that down. This makes a nice teeny tiny border on there. I have the next biggest rectangle. So these are the skinnier rectangles in the dies. I can show you which ones these were. So these were these two over here on the skinnier side. You can see that's the white one, and then this one is the So Saffron one. And I like to put a little bit extra color in there. They're pretty big. I find that it's a pretty big, what do I want to say? A border on there between the two dies. So I like to just add an extra little color in there. We're just going to put these on the So Saffron. And then we'll put this one on the So Saffron, and then we just got to put these on our card. We'll be ready to go. This card is nearly done. So lots of places for mistakes, as I have shown, but actually it's a pretty easy card to make. It goes pretty quickly because it's mostly pattern paper. All right, so now I have the congratulations. Let's decide where we want this. Do we want this on the top or on the bottom? In the center, maybe? It's so hard to choose. Off the side. I could sit here for like an hour and look at this. How about just right in the center? We'll put it right in the center. So again, I'm going to grab my Stampin' Seal Plus because I'm gluing onto the acetate. And I hate covering this up, but I just feel like it needs a sentiment on the front. All right. So there we go. There's that. Now, why do I have the second piece? Because I like to cover up the back of that. I don't like the way the back of that looks. You can see the adhesive, and it's just not very pretty. So I just have that same size again cut. And that's what's nice about the stitched rectangle dies, or any die cut in this instance, or not any die cut, but any shape die cut that could go either direction. It makes it really easy to make sure that you have exactly the same size. Oops, that is upside down. See, look at me messing up again. Mistakes and mishaps. All right. So the stitched rectangle dies just make it really easy to make sure that those rectangles are exactly the same size, so they're not showing. You can put them right on top of each other. So there you go. There is that card. And I'll show you how it opens. There we go. And then it's your day. And then the wishing you every happiness. Pretty sure that's crooked. It's one of those days today. All right, let me show you my other two examples that I have. So that's one. Then I have another one that also uses that congratulations. And this is using the Mary Merlot with the petal pink. Isn't that pretty? And again, it's your day. And look at that gorgeous paper. And then wishing you every happiness this special day will bring. So really the same card, just kind of turned the other direction with a little bit different paper, but isn't that pretty? So there's that one. And then we have one more. This one is just, just down here. This is happy birthday. And we open it up, it's your day. Now this one, so instead of using the outside stitched rectangles, what I did is I just cut a smaller piece. So it covers up the ugly. It covers up the ugly on the petal pink there, but you'll notice it doesn't go all the way to the edge, so I didn't have to worry about those being exactly the same size. I kind of used it and covered up the bits that I didn't want to show. And then this opens up, and it says, wishing you every happiness this special day will bring. So isn't that pretty? And I use that same paper on the inside too. So pretty. Love these cards, gorgeous paper, and again, it's only available till the end of June or while supplies last. Thank you so much for joining me today. Wasn't that card design absolutely fabulous? It is going to make a beautiful wedding card for some weddings I have coming up this summer, or even a great birthday card as you saw. If you liked today's video, make sure that you like, subscribe, share it with your friends, and then come on back and see me for more tips, techniques, and inspiration. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.